Hello.
Hi.
Live from the studio in Los Angeles, it's Sara and La La Land with special guest Kimberly, Sandra Murphy.
We wanted to know an introduction, like being in a studio, no? And then I appear. Here she is, Kimberly Shannon Murphy, leading Hollywood, one of the most talented Hollywood stunt women.
Thank you.
You were in more than 133 films, and you stunt double many female actresses, Susan Sarandon, Sandra Bullock, Angelina Jolie, and Cameron Diaz, and also this last actress became a good friend of yours, and she actually wrote the foreword of your book, Glimmer.
Yeah.
So despite what's amazing is that despite your physicality and your physical unbelievable strength that really allowed you to perform unimaginable scene sequences. You had your head crashed by Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Then you jumped off building, landing on your back, breaking glasses. So despite all of this force within you, you had a broken childhood that you wanted to talk about in your book Glimmer, because you've endured an abuse by your grandfather since the age of 2, from age 2 until Kimberly. We lost you, Kimberly. We have lost Kimberly. No. Kimberly? You got stuck, Kimberly. I don't know what happened.
Hi, I don't know what happened. I disappeared. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
It just threw
Actually,
me off. I was like, oh no, but I did hear your question.
Did you
I
hear?
did, because I was trying to get back on, and I was like, she's talking to herself.
Because you were like this.
Oh, I was frozen.
I was like, she's
Excellent.
very attentive. I thought she's very attentive. So I was saying that you decided that despite your physical strength, you've endured an abuse by your grandfather from the age 2 until
11.
And why did you decide to come out now with and describing and talk about in your book Glimmer, which is a story of survival, hope, and healing? And why? Yes. And why the title? This very tempting title, Glimmer.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I named the book, I didn't realize that your glimmers are the opposite of your triggers, which I didn't know when I named the book. I named it because I just felt like my inner child was like always like a glimmer of, I always felt like there was like a glimmer of hope for me, even though I was really struggling through my life, that there was something that I was meant to do with it, which I do believe is this book, and just getting myself out there and my story out there to help survivors. So that's where I came up with the name, and I didn't want it to be like a depressing, sad name. I wanted it to be something that was intriguing and positive, and because at the end of the day, that's what this story is. It's not so much about, you know, about the abuse as it is about giving people hope and giving people, you know, the feeling that we can overcome these things and heal from them, and that it's not, you know, like a death sentence when this stuff happens to you, even though it's extremely painful.
And how did you find back that glimmer that you had and you lost it? And you had to retrain your brain and your identity and find your new self.
Yeah.
How were you able
to do it?
To do it? Yeah. I mean, what, and also, yeah. Sorry,
No, that's okay. I think I'm still doing it. I think that we all, you know, have our things that we've been through in life. And that's why I want this book to speak to everybody who's been through anything and not just sexual abuse survivors. That we all, you know, the path to healing is not a linear one. And we all go through our own journeys with our healing, no matter what we've been through in our life and what's happened to us. So I think that for me, it was a lot of therapy, and I just did a lot of like inner child work, and a lot through my book. I was connected with a lot of amazing doctors who really helped me with my healing process. And I feel like I've healed more through the process of writing than I have at any other time in my life.
So I'm sure you, and there's something that you spoke about in many interviews, and it's even in the book. You said your pain from the outside matches your pain from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the pain from the outside, going through all of your stunt work, that is very, very physical. It's that kind of pain. It's I'm gonna use the word like affordable. Like I can endure that kind of pain because it's gonna cover my worst pain that is from inside. So how were you able to combine these two emotions, like the pain of your work with your pain, your emotional pain?
Yeah. Well, well, if you ask Dr. Mattei, what he feels about it is that I've never actually been in my body my whole life, that I've been like kind of not really in, you know, in tune with my inner child, like living in my own body, that I was like so disconnected as a child that I brought that into adulthood. So I think I had this very big disconnection with myself, and going to work and having these really big challenges and having these really big stunts to do and these really big things kind of made me feel alive in a weird way, where I was feeling really damaged on the inside, and it was giving me some sort of validity, or it felt good to me. And I didn't realize when I was in the process of doing it and when I was working that that's like was part of what was happening, but it actually was. And I think that, you know, in general, a lot of people that put themselves through difficult things in their adulthood, and I mean like fighters or stunt people or whatever, like hardcore dancers, because we all know that they get their asses kicked too, have had some sort of like trauma. I think.
I wanted to touch that needle. I wanted to touch the needle because we spoke on the phone, and I haven't gone through what you went through at all. But I mean, probably a different kind of trauma, maybe more psychological. But I don't want to talk about it. And you made me think, when I read your book, you made me think like, where I was going through dancing, and for me it was like really reaching that limit of hurting myself. Mm-hmm. And when I would hurt myself, I would feel I've accomplished something. Yeah. Oh, now I did it right, because now I feel pain. That means I really worked hard. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm not an acrobat, I'm not doing those crazy things that you do, but there might be some sort of trauma that I don't know yet, but I need to discover. Yeah, no,
I think it's, and I think that's, when we talked about that on the phone, and I personally think, I mean, I was a dancer too, and we abuse our bodies like massively. I mean, it's like, you know, you don't get paid a lot of money when you're dancing. So because of that, we're working so much, and we're having, putting our bodies through this rigorous stuff every day, especially if you're on stage and you're doing a bunch of like modern and jazz or whatever it is, and you're on your knees or, you know, or point or whatever it is. It's like, it's, you know, somewhat abusive to your body in a certain way when you get to that like professional level, I feel like.
Yes, definitely. And you were saying you always felt disconnected about what happened.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you felt that connection with the trauma? You said, well, that you realized what you were going through and what happened?
I think I do now. I think I thought I did 20 years ago, but I think that now is when I really have connected and put those two pieces together, of my childhood and my adulthood. But I did think if you would have talked to me 20 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I'm so, you know, I'm so healed and I'm doing so well and I'm so reconnected with myself. I wasn't at all. And, you know, in 10 years, I'll probably say the same thing about myself now. So I think it's an ever growing process, and it's something that, you know, when we find something that we need to work on in ourselves, it takes time, you know, and it's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah, and reading your book, like it seems like you were supposed to be protected by your family, but apparently only one person was you call her your savior, your Aunt Pat. And I wanted to read, because I love this passage in your book, page, no, I don't say the page, so people need to read it and find that passage. But I really love what your aunt said. There was apparently only one really supporting you. Do not avoid your suffering. Feel it and let it go. Although it is painful to relive traumatic events, it is the antidote to a life unlived, devoid of passion. Bring breath to the pain. I just loved it. It enlightened me, this part.
Oh, she was a beautiful writer. She always wanted her work to be published, so now it is.
Say again, sorry.
She always wanted her writing to be published.
Oh,
and so she passed away, but now it is published. So I feel like I gave her that gift, even though she's not here with me anymore.
But lives in your words.
Yes,
she lives in your words.
She does.
And your aunt was really supportive. And how were you able to trust again people, like feeling isolated by people that you were supposed to be close to them and the most trustworthy person? How did you gain again confidence to get close to people and feeling loved and love again?
Yeah, it's still a process, and I think that for me, trust is something that needs to be earned from people, and I don't think that, like back then, I feel like we lived in a generation where it was like, oh, this is your family and you should just trust everyone and love everyone because they're your family and this is what we do, and there were no questions asked and nobody, you know, cared about what the kids might have been feeling. You know, you had to hug every adult, you had to be, you know, and no one asked any questions. And now as an adult who has a child, I'm very much aware of her and her surroundings and who she feels comfortable with, and I don't let her around anybody that I don't fully trust, and that takes me time, and it should take you time to trust somebody and to leave your child with that person if you decide to do that. I don't think my parents really ever did that or really were in tune with sort of what was going on, or, you know, obviously with the people in our lives. So.
And so is there anything you're doing now? I know you said you're going through therapy, but something that you do to heal the little girl?
Yeah,
right now, some practical exercises or mind or thoughts that can help.
I think it's really simple. I'm trying to be more gentle with myself and not expect so much of myself anymore. Like you were saying when you were dancing, and how this pressure that you put on yourself that you didn't even probably realize at the time you were doing. I think that for me, I was doing the same thing. It was like, okay, you show up at work, and this sort of pressure that I put on myself to perform and do amazing, even if I was bleeding or, you know, in pain or twisted my ankle or whatever it was. Yeah, exactly.
Like that was, actually it's good if I'm bleeding.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It totally. So I'm not, you know, in that space anymore, which I feel really grateful about. And I'm just trying to take care of myself more.
like, well, how?
How?
No, I want to talk about something that was very interesting that I find out, but yeah, tell me, well,
just by being just by speaking kinder to myself in general, you know, and not having those moments where I'm going, you know, I'm not thinking about myself or thinking about how this is actually making me feel, and I'm just throwing myself into a situation because that's where I should be, and no matter, you know, I don't do that anymore. You know, it's kind of like I love myself. I'm trying to love myself more every day, and when you start to do that, you just don't put yourself in those situations anymore. So it's those kind of situations are slowly just falling off of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if you have moments of like those flashbacks or going back with your memory, are you able to push them away, or you just embrace it with in a different state of mind, with being more conscious about it?
Well, I was very disconnected with my child self for a long time. And so now I have a lot more memories because we're connected, and she, I think, feels trust in me now, where she didn't trust me for a really long time because I wasn't taking care of her. That's how I feel. So now I feel very integrated with her, and I feel like she trusts me, and so she's showing more things to me, and I'm actually open and listening, and even though they are painful, just really embracing. For a long time I felt like, okay, I know I was abused. I don't want to know the details. It's fine. I just want to move on with my life, which is all fine and great and what most people do. But the reality is it's not actually how it works. It comes out in other ways then. And then, you know, when situations do arise, you put yourself in a bad situation, or you get into a bad relationship, or you parent from your triggers, or you're, you know, you get married to someone who doesn't treat you well. All of those things, that's how it plays out if you don't deal with it.
Now you know what you don't want. So as soon as you see it, like you're like, no, it isn't right for me anymore. I know I want this and not the kind of relationship that maybe before it was something that you already knew, so you were fine with that, you know, because it's what you saw all your life. I mean, during childhood. And this is another part you talked about in the book Glimmer. You were saying all dancers wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be famous too. So I thought about, what about Kimberly and fame, or like validation? Like, are you still, well, we all, as a stunt woman, I'm sure there's a validation in your work. Like, how was it? How did I jump off the building? Or how did I jump off that track? Was it good? Like, you always make comments about yourself, how you performed, but do you still feel you need to prove something, like the fame that you were looking for before?
I don't think I was ever looking for fame, because for me, being an actor wasn't something I ever wanted. I really enjoyed my job. But yes, I do think that there was a part of me for a really long time that it was just like, when we talk about the first, you know, in the prologue of the book, we talk about the accident that happened on I Am Legend. And, you know, me just being like, did we get the take? Did it look good? Meanwhile, I was, you know, my whole face was cut open. So it's really interesting sort of situation and that I chose to put myself in or get myself into, and then not go to the hospital for 8 hours was not a good choice whatsoever. So yeah, I'm definitely not there anymore, which is nice. And for me with work wise, I'm sort of like transitioning into my book and just really focusing on that. And, we want to make that a movie, and hopefully, that will happen in the next few years.
So
and
you want to make a movie about your life?
Yeah.
Wow. This is like, wait, we didn't know, the world didn't know.
No.
That would be great. And your book probably is coming out in Italian, right? Maybe.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Everything takes some time, especially being a new author and writing my first book. So, but yes, hopefully it's going to come out in every language. We'll see what happens. But if anything, my hope is to do the film, and then we'll probably re-release the book after the film is out. And so we'll see.
Will you still work as a stunt in the meanwhile, or now you're gonna take a break?
I still work here. I mean, we're obviously all on strike right now, but I still work here and there, mostly for my husband and stuff, because he coordinates and directs now. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely kind of shifting gears with my life for sure. And my daughter, obviously, and my husband's super busy in the business. So I don't like her not having one parent at home at all times. So I'm usually that parent.
Hey, I'm sorry, I need to jump.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. Wait a second, like I just broke my head.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to talk about your husband briefly. But first, something very, very interesting to me is towards the end of the book, a type of therapy that I didn't know was possible, which is the psychedelic therapy. You explored psychedelic work, and I shouldn't say that because, okay, don't say anything to my parents if anyone is listening, but because I tried MDMA when I was 16, and so I didn't know that now it's something, of course, low dosage with the right therapist, so you can.
Well, it's low dosage.
How does it work, Kimberly?
Yeah, it's low dosage, but it's also really clean. Like the stuff that we get when we're in our 20s or whatever from the club or wherever we get things is not actual like pure MDMA. So when you're working with a doctor with it, they get it from like a lab, and it's actually like pure
controlled.
Yes. And I also work with mushrooms too, which is like a plant medicine, obviously.
I've heard that it's becoming for the first time I saw in LA a sign saying psychedelic therapy. I was like, wait, is that what I'm thinking, mushroom or MDMA? So how can you share briefly what you did with it?
I've done quite a few journeys now, and I do it with a doctor, and it's all very it's all very well done. We do therapy before, we have the journey, we do therapy after. Everything is very I'm very connected with her. It's just me by myself. Some people do it in groups. It's not really my thing. But yeah, I mean, it helps so much with connecting with the part of yourself that you have trouble connecting with. And a lot of that is because your fight or flight is constantly on. And when you're in that state, it kind of takes that away. So you're able to access parts of your brain that you can't access when you're, not on the journey. So it's been life-changing for me, for sure.
So it lasts like an hour?
No. It's like 7 hours.
So, and you have someone control. So you go back home and you have someone at home with you?
I have someone that I work with that I go to, and she sits with me the whole time. She takes notes. We put it, we record it. And it's not like you forget anything. Everything is, you remember everything from it. It's not like you're completely out of your mind. And I come out of it remembering everything that happened in the journey. I don't forget anything. I'm not you know, it's, I mean, originally when Gabor had brought it up to me, Dr. Matei, he said, have you ever worked with plant medicine? It's really good for PTSD and, you know, trauma survivors. And I was like, no, because I had done it in my 20s. And I was like thinking about what I was like then doing it. And I was like, no, how could this be healing for me? You know, and then when I gave it more thought and I watched some other people who had done it talk about it, I was like, yeah, maybe I should. And when I did, it was totally 360 degrees different than I thought it was going to be. Like I just lay there the whole time, really. There isn't any, you know, you're just really kind of in your head and in your own space. It's really a beautiful
but
experience.
you're in your space, in your head, but you're aware of what's around
Oh yeah.
you.
Oh,
You're not,
totally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when you
yeah, and because it's important to work with the doctor because they, you know, they make sure the dosage is right. They take your weight. They make sure everything is like done properly. So you're not getting too much in your body where you're out of control and you're not able to kind of deal with what's coming at you. It's really a really beautiful, actually, thing that they do. It's a kind of an underground situation at the moment.
yeah, it seems scary to me, maybe because I don't want to lose control. It seems like this kind of therapy, you lose control. You have to let yourself go. But
the medicine does that for you. So you don't, like, even if you feel like I don't want to lose control, like once you know, start taking the medicine, that is not even something you think about. It just like all goes away.
okay, it's a natural process.
Yeah.
Like you don't put any resistance to it. It just happened. And
Yeah.
and when the effect is over, like you really feel better. Like there's some beneficial in the therapy. You feel it.
Well, when you come out of it, there's a lot of intense feelings because of everything that you kind of uncovered when you were in the space.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and that just takes a few weeks to process, which is why you do integration afterwards is what they call it, which is when you just talk to the doctor or the therapist about what you experienced and they help you sort of integrate it into your life. And that's really what it is. So it does, depending on like what comes up for you, it does sometimes take like a few weeks or a month to sort of find a place for it
in the
your
book
life.
is very in Glimmer is very well explained, and it was a pivotal moment for me. I was like, wait, so it exists. This therapy exists for real. Like, when you said it's an LA thing, you know, in LA everything's possible.
True story.
Every kind of therapy. But did your husband ever try this? Or? No, he didn't. No. Because you met your husband, Casey O'Neill. Is the pronunciation correct, Kimberly? You met him on set of Night and Day. You were stunt doubling Cameron Diaz, and your husband was a stunt double for Tom Cruise. And there was this chasing on the motorcycle. And nel mio immaginario, my imaginarium scenario, I thought, okay, they're gonna take off, like crossing the ocean to the Amalfi Coast, they're getting married, and then here's a daughter named Capri. So I was like, there would be such a nice, maybe you can put it in the film, Kimberly.
Yes, for sure.
So yeah, you got married in Amalfi, the Amalfi Coast, and your daughter name is Capri. And how was Italy for you?
Oh, I love Italy. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite places.
You're not gonna say something in Italian?
Oh my God, no, I can't. I can only say posso andare in bagno.
Okay. Can I go to the bathroom? Yes, please.
That's all I got. Ciao. That's it.
Not something a little bit nicer than the bagno.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
But yeah, that's good that you were able to go to Italy with someone. Now seems like you have a very bonded relationship with them, and you have a good family, and everything is still behind, still in front of you, but you're bypassing it, like through therapy. And so it's, I know that it's a long journey. It'll be a long journey, but probably at one point you'll be able to, like, it'll fade it away more and more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it shifts all the time, for sure. Yeah.
I thank you so much. Grazie mille, Kimberly. This is Glimmer, story of survival, hope, and healing. The film will come out. We want to know a lot about it.
I'll let you know.
And I'm gonna post the slide with the cover, so everyone who didn't have a chance to hear it will listen. Sorry,
Perfect.
Didn't have a chance to listen to us. Oh my God, my English sometimes get weird. So
you're fine. You're fine.
Grazie mille, Kimberly. I'm Sara,
Thank you.
Kimberly Shannon Murphy, her book Glimmer.
Thank you so much.
Grazie.
Good to see you. Okay.
Ci vediamo
Bye.
a Los Angeles, in LA, in person, maybe one day.
Yes, for sure.
I'd love to see you.
Okay.
Ciao, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.